Hello everyone. This video is continuing our look at multi-step equations. This time we're going to focus on equations where you have the variable on each side of the equation. In the previous video we looked at where you had the variable multiple times on the same side of the equation. Now we've got to look at it on opposite sides. So we'll go through two examples, and again we're going to stick with using just x as our variable, but any variable could be used. Again, we're sticking with only a single type of variable in the problem and no powers. After we go through each problem, we'll also remember to check our answers to see if they are solutions as well. So first, let's take a look at this problem here. Let's say that we have x plus 3 equals 5x minus 5. Now again, we are sticking with integer-only problems, so we're not going to worry about getting decimals and fractions for our answers and solutions. Now the first thing you need to note is that the variable exists in two places, on the left and on the right. We can't work with that. We need only one variable. Remember that once we get it to one location, we're going to circle it. Both sides only have two items each, so there's no simplifying that needs to happen on each side. We're simply going to get the variables from one side to the other. In this case, I'm going to move our variable that's on the left to the right. Since they're both positive, it doesn't hurt to move the variable with the smaller coefficient to the larger coefficient. That way you keep a positive answer. It's not mandatory, but it doesn't hurt. So first off, I'm going to put a 1 in front of that, and I'm going to subtract 1x from the left and from the right and draw my horizontal line. You don't need the 1, but it doesn't hurt. I know a lot of people like that. So first, that's going to leave me with a positive 3 on the left. 5 minus 1 is 4x, and I'm going to drop that minus 5 down. Now that gives us a two-step, and notice our x is now by itself, so we're good to go. I don't want to move the x anymore. So first, the thing farthest away from the variable on its side is the 5. A minus 5 means we do a plus 5. It's opposite. That way we can cancel it out. That leaves us with 3 plus 5 gives us an 8 equals 4x. Then I'm going to divide to get rid of that 4. Remember, in many problems, division is the last step. So that means that we're going to have an x equals 8 divided by 4 is 2. So there's our answer. Now to check it, remember we're going to plug this in to each side of the equation. I'm going to replace the x with a 2. So 2 plus 3 equals 5 times 2 minus 5. So now I'm going to do this left side, so that's a 5. I'm going to do the first part of the right side, that's a 10. Drop the minus 5. Then I'm going to do the remaining calculation. 10 minus 5 is 5. They both worked, so it checks. So 2 is not just our answer, but it's also our solution because it checks. Okay, remember that's the key thing, is you're not going to always get the item that you started with, especially in these problems, so you can't just think it through as easily. So now let's look at our other example. Let's say that we have 4x minus 1 equals 10x minus 25. I chose some larger numbers just so that we can start thinking a little bit higher. Now again, I've got an x on each side. Now my choice this time is I'm going to move the 10x over from the right to the left. It's a positive 10x, So I'm going to subtract 10x. Again, I said before, it doesn't matter. This is a choice you have to make. I want to show you both sides. So 4 minus 10 is going to give us negative 6x. Drop the minus 1 and drop the negative 25. Remember, when you don't have anything in front of a minus sign, it becomes a negative sign. Same type meaning. So now that means that our x is by itself. So I can add the 1 because it's a minus 1. So negative 6x equals negative 24. And then I can divide by negative 6. Remember, when you divide, keep the sign. So x equals negative 24 divided by negative 6 is going to give us a positive 4. So now to do my check. Again, numbers are a bit larger, but that doesn't really matter. 4 times 4 minus 1 equals 10 times 4 minus 25. So first I've got on the left 4 times 4. On the right I've got 10 times 4. I can do them at the same time since they're on opposite sides. So that gives us 16 minus 1. That gives us 40 minus 25. 16 minus 1 is 15. 40 minus 25 is also 15. So it checks. So our 4 is our answer and our solution. Biggest things here is you've got to pick a method. You always move the variable first. Yes, you can move a constant first. I don't recommend it. If you move the variable first, it turns it into a problem that you're used to. So that is what I always recommend. It will make it a lot easier. Next time we'll move on and we'll look at distributive property, and then we'll get into problems where you have a mixture of all of the types we've talked about, combining like terms, variables on both sides, and distributive. So we'll look at those higher level problems.